Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of True Myths, One Lie, the game show in the form of a podcast all about myths, urban legends, conspiracies, all of the things that we don't fully understand. I'm your host, Anthony Manella, and the way that the game works is 3 stories are going to be told, 2 of which are from people online that claim that these stories are true, and 1 that is completely made up. It is up to my guests and everyone at home to try and figure out which story is lie. Today's first guest is the person who, when he first learned how to drive, parked so horribly on the driveway that my car is the one that got ruined. Christopher Manella.
Learn how to park on.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know. That's not my fault. I was not present.
Learn how to parka.
Today's second guest is the person who at one point was so smart that they wanted him to skip a grade.
Wow.
And then after that, it all went downhill.
Oh, wow.
Austin Murphy.
This is actually all true. He does not tell any lies.
No, I'm obviously kidding about the all went downhill part, but
but yeah.
they did want you to skip a grade at one point.
Yeah, this is true. I was supposed to skip 2nd grade, but I have a twin brother. Many of you do not know. I have a twin brother, and my mom did not want us to be separated, so that's why they did it.
Have we never said that you're a twin?
It might be possible that in the 13 years I've been on this channel or so, I've never mentioned I have a twin.
Wow. That's actually
I don't have
crazy
anything
to
against
me.
him, you know what I mean? Yeah, I like him. He's not bad.
Right.
I didn't really think you were even twins for so long.
Yeah,
You guys don't really look.
'Cause you
You're
don't look like
fraternal.
twins.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Definitely fair.
Wait, what grade was it again?
2nd grade.
Were you really good at identifying animal sounds?
It's very specific. I can tell you one thing, I actually been very good about it. There's only one test I didn't get a 100 on, and it's because I spelled this is how much I remember. That's how smart I was. I spelled the word of wrong. It's the only word I spelled wrong. And yeah, that's the only test I didn't get 100 on.
Didn't you spell it O-V-E?
Spelled it O-V-E instead of O-F.
No, that makes sense in my head, though, as a kid, because oven.
Yeah, exactly. I still remember that. Crazy.
Dang.
That's the only thing you got wrong in the whole grade.
Oh my God, you were in that grade. I just realized that.
I was in 2nd grade at one point, correct?
You were in 1st grade with me. You were in my class.
Oh, yeah, yes.
He was witnessing this.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. I don't remember 1st grade. I definitely got a lot of things wrong. And the only thing that I remember is that when we would get enough stars or something, we could pick out of a candy jar.
Yeah, with the popsicle
That
sticks, you could
sounds so
trade.
fun.
Yeah, you could trade in popsicle sticks, and they had those sour Twizzlers, which were my favorite things ever when I was a kid.
All of that.
They were so good. Anyway, we are going to get into today's topic, but first we're going to take a quick little break. We will be right back. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Relationships, they take work. All the time we see people dropping anything to go help someone that they care about. We go out of our way to treat other people well, but do we treat ourselves the same way? I always make sure to make time for me to just be me, regardless of how busy I am, because self-care is so important. BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to take care of the most important relationship in your life, which is the one that you have with you. Whether it's watching your favorite TV shows or going to the gym or even trying therapy for the first time, you're the most important person in your life, so give just as much effort to you as you do to others. I personally think that therapy is so important. It can help you so much whether you realize it or not, and for me, it helps with my anxiety and puts all my thoughts into perspective, and that's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and True Myths, One Lie with Culture 35 listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/culture35. That's BetterHelp.com/culture35. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode. And we are back. Okay, guys, I'm excited about today's episode because this is the 2nd episode that was written entirely by the fans. Yeah, so all 3 of today's stories are about different creatures and topics, basically. We just took a bunch of my favorite stories that were sent in, and we put them together for today's episode. And that does include the fake one. The fake one was also written by a fan to use as the lie. So, completely fan-submitted.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you know one of us didn't send in one of these?
Right. Because I have sent in at least half of the things that you've got.
And I probably sent in the other 70%.
The math there, something doesn't add up.
So we've sent you 120% worth
of my inbox.
Sounds about right.
So no further ado, we ready to jump into the first story?
Yeah, let's do
I'm
it.
down, yeah.
All right. Let's see if the viewers can take you guys down for the second time. Story number 1. So this story takes place about a guy who absolutely loves motorcycles. He loves four-wheelers, absolutely crazy about them. And he goes outside one day to take his quad for a ride around his yard. Now, while he's out there, he hears a yell. And it doesn't necessarily take him by surprise too much. He just thinks this could be one of his neighbors. It could be literally anybody. So he brushes it off. So he's riding around the yard, avoiding his wife's flowers. It's getting later and later. He's taking breaks in between just to rest. The sun is starting to set. And as he's driving, he thinks that he sees something perched in a big tree in his yard. But he keeps going and he wants to get a closer look at it and he doesn't really see anything anymore. And then he hears that yell again. He turns his headlights on his quad, he turns around, and he's pretty sure that once again, he sees something perched on a branch in a tree. So he turns the brights on his headlights and he sees this short, white-looking humanoid. The thing jumps down in front of him and screeches at him. The man realized that the quad stopped working. So what he does is he keeps trying, he kicks the brakes, he flicks the starter, and he drives out of there as quickly as he can. He goes onto his driveway and drives down and into the street and goes all the way to the nearest gas station. The man in the gas station, he's talking to him and explaining what just happened, and the guy says, "It sounds to me like what you just encountered was a wendigo." And that is the end of story number 1. I'm going to give you guys some time to discuss. Go.
Was he on the Wendigo episode?
No.
All the Wendigo stories ended that way.
That is true.
They were always like, what was it like? Oh, it sounds like you ran into a
Every
Wendigo.
single one of them did end that
And
way.
it just happened again.
But it doesn't even look like it. Based off what it looked like, it didn't sound like it.
What I'll say is that this story was sent in to me before the Wendigo episode even came out.
Wow. That's just
obsessed with
weird
Wendigo.
that it's always that way. But that almost gives it more credibility.
That all true Wendigo stories have to end in someone saying, what you just encountered
Yeah.
is a Wendigo.
Exactly. Unless you have someone telling you, it was not a Wendigo.
It's so hard.
I know.
I haven't gotten much from this, but it's
No,
just
I
odd.
didn't get that much either.
We'll just move on to the next one?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Story number 2. There was a man named Mr. O. He was on a missions trip for his job in a small town in the Philippines. And while he was there, he was talking to some other people in the town, and these people were telling him about some newcomers in the town. So the locals were telling Mr. O about how him, his partner, and this other beautiful woman that came in the other day were some of the first new people that they've seen come into this town in a long time. Mr. O didn't think anything of it. He went about his day, and while he was staying in the town, he was staying with a very nice, generous family. So later that night, in the family's house that he was staying in, he heard some weird noises going on downstairs. Now, he thought that it could have just been someone in the family, but he wasn't too sure because they sounded really, really odd. They were really weird noises, so he grabbed his knife just to be sure and went downstairs to check. When he got downstairs, he could see into one of the children's rooms, and in there was this weird, tall-looking winged figure with coarse hair, and this thing was sticking its gross long tongue out and extending it closer and closer to one of the children. With little to no thought, Mr. O ran up to this thing, took his knife, and sliced its tongue off. And what this thing did was it grabbed Mr. O's thumb and it ripped his thumb off. And the thing flew away with Mr. O's thumb. Mr. O stayed up the rest of that night, horrified. He went back and talked to the locals that he talked to the day before, and what they told him that they think he encountered was something called an aswang. They also suspiciously mentioned that the beautiful woman, that newcomer that they talked about earlier, that was visiting town for the first time, was also missing, was nowhere to be found. And what an aswang is a mosquito-like demonic creature that actually disguises itself as beautiful women and goes around tormenting towns. What this thing is known to do is use its long tongue to suck the blood out of children from their belly buttons. Now, the locals also warned Mr. O that now that this thing had its thumb, it's gotten a taste of his blood, and he would probably be hunted down by this thing for the rest of his life. And that is the end of story number 2. I'm gonna give you guys some time to discuss. Go.
Can we get an update on Mr. O?
I don't have an update on Mr. O.
I like this story because just based off the idea of this monster.
It was very new and different.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's attacking villages, so it's small towns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's creepy.
I really like the story. I love the whole we had a woman come into town for the first time, ended up being a thing in disguise in the end. I think that's really cool. We haven't had anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm picturing this really small town, years ago.
Small woman.
Sure. Small woman, small Mr. O.
Small town girl. I honestly I think this one is fake.
Really?
I do.
I was actually leaning towards that too, because it almost seemed like there was too many things going on.
Dude, imagine, ready? We have an episode right here, pulled together from all of the greatest attractions we've seen so far. And now we're getting a brand new spanking one thrown at us in the midst of it. I don't know. That sounds a little strange.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And while we're talking about it, this reader then actually got to see everything, and it's like, oh, well, this is actually different. Let me submit this different one. It could be fake, but I do want to say, I like your selection.
Right. I like it too.
It was a good story. I did like it.
I really like that story too. All right. We ready for our mini game?
Oh, there's a mini game?
Yeah. Minigame time.
What game is it?
We are using another fan-submitted story to play Mad Libs with.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, obviously, I'm gonna tell you guys what I need from you, and we're gonna take someone's story and totally change it. So, I apologize, but also thank you for sending in your story for us to use for the minigame. So, first thing I need, verb ending in ing.
Walking.
Okay.
Strolling.
Yeah, that's better. Strolling.
Okay. I need a number.
4? 3.
3. Okay. Can you give me a plural noun?
Pikachu?
Okay.
Okay.
Pikachu's. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Give me a sound. Like bang.
Oh, onomatopoeia.
Yeah, an onomatopoeia.
Whip.
It's the whip.
Like a...
Yeah, Spider-Man always whip. You cool with that?
Yeah, whip.
Okay.
Whip.
Noun.
Bingo board game?
Okay, all right. Give me a verb ending in ing.
Polluting.
Go with that?
Yeah, sure.
There you go, polluting.
Yeah.
Give me an exclamation. Something you'd yell.
Oh my god. Oh my god. In homeless man voice.
Yeah, in homeless man voice.
Gotta be.
All right, another verb ending in ing.
Wobbling?
Wobbling?
Wobbling, yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Give me a past tense verb.
Wobbled?
Yeah, wobbles.
Final answer. Good answer.
Verb ending in ing.
Drowning?
Yeah, okay. Okay. Give me a noun.
Toph.
Oh gosh.
Can we go for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, put him in.
Past tense verb.
Fumbled.
Fumbled. Good? We use that?
Fumbled.
Yeah, we can use fumbled.
Okay.
Bag fumbler. I just feel like it could be good, in certain context.
Yeah.
Give me an adjective.
Slippery?
Did you do that on purpose?
For what?
Because I said fumble.
I guess sorta.
You know the song?
No.
Slippery? Oh, that's a song by Migos. Because you get the bag and fumble it. I get the bag and flip it and tumble it.
No way.
Slippery. Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe. I thought you did that on purpose.
Verb ending in ing.
Croqueting?
Croquet? What's that? Or crochet?
I thought it was croquet.
Oh, it's croquet the game.
Okay, are you ready to hear the 110% real story that was definitely sent into my email that we didn't change at all?
Yeah.
This is the one we sent.
This is the one you guys sent in, yeah. Okay, the story was sent in by someone named Damien Contreras, and He is also our main character. So one day, Damien was strolling with 3 Pikachus. As they were sleeping, there was a big thwip. And when Damien looked out, he saw a few bingo board games polluting around his tent. Damien told his friend what he saw, and his friend said, "Oh my God!" and then went back to sleep.
Oh my God! I'm going to sleep.
Damien looked out again, and now one of them was wobbling at him and wobbled away. The rest of them were now drowning, and Damien said to his friend, "Hurry, get the toph."
Oh, yeah.
So Damien walked out and fumbled on one so it fell over slipperily.
Me?
Damien, what?
I fell over or the
No,
board game?
Damien walked out with the toph in his hand, fumbled on one, so the thing fell over slipperily.
Toph in hand.
That was the last time that Damien ever went croqueting. And that is our real story that was definitely sent in. Thank you, Damien, for
Thanks,
sending in
Damien.
your story for our mini game. Thank you guys for playing. We're going to get into story number 3 very, very shortly. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back.
Love you, Damien.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Relationships, they aren't easy. They take work, and people are always dropping anything to go help someone that they care about. We go out of our way all the time for others, but do we treat ourselves the same way? I always make sure to allow myself some me time because self-care is so important. And BetterHelp Online Therapy wants to remind you to take care of the most important relationship, the one that you have with yourself. Whether it's treating yourself to a nice meal, getting a haircut, or even trying therapy for the first time, you're the most important person in your life, so give just as much effort to you as you do to others. I personally think that therapy is so important. It helps me with my anxiety, and it kind of puts all my thoughts into perspective, and that's really where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp Online Therapy. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and truemythsonelie with Culture 35 listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/culture35. That's BetterHelp.com/culture35. Thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode. And we are back. Okay.
You guys ready for story number 3? Yeah, we're ready. Okay, I'm going to jump right into it. Story number 3.
I guess I don't have to do any of that because Toph just did it all
I just
for
did
me.
it.
So there was a guy.
Story number 3. When Jace was 6 years old, his family moved to the United States. When they moved there, they were often going on drives to visit their aunt. On one particular drive, Jace was sitting in the packed car with the rest of his family, and he was sitting dead center in the back seat of the car. When they finally arrived at his aunt's house, he had left something in the car. So while the rest of his family went inside, he stayed back to look for what he left. So Jace is looking around the car, and he turns and he looks out the window, and he sees a man standing in one of the windows in his aunt's house, just staring out blankly. Now, never looked in his direction. It just kept the same exact facial expression. And this was this creepy, huge smile. He's got these big eyes that looked like they were about to bulge or fall out of his head, and his veins were popping out and pulsating. This man's hands were also grasping the bars on the window as if it was a man in a jail cell. So Jace gets out of the car, he goes into the house, and the first thing that he does is go to that bedroom to see who this man was. When Jace got to the room, there was absolutely no one in the room. And where the man would have been standing was a bed placed there, and the headboard was blocking the entire window, so there couldn't have been anyone standing there if they wanted to. Jace explained what had just happened to his aunt, and his aunt made him swear to never speak of it ever again. And that is the end of story number 3. I'm going to give you guys some time to discuss. Go.
This Anne is sus. She knows something.
Susubaka.
What?
What do you mean what?
I don't know what that means.
It's okay.
You don't want to know.
She's sus. Anyways, I honestly think this story was stranger than the first 2 by a long shot. I don't even know who this man was. The first 2 at least had monsters.
You think it's the fake one though?
I don't know if it's... What What kind of car was he in? It doesn't say.
It does not say.
Where was this?
All I know is that he used to not live in the U.S. and now it takes place in the U.S.
We don't have
He
any
moved.
location or year for any of these stories.
We do. The second one takes place in the Philippines.
Oh, right.
Ready for me to recap all three?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Story number 1. It's about a guy. He absolutely loves motorcycles and four-wheelers. He goes for a ride outside. He hears some yells. Eventually, he sees something perched in a tree. He turns on his brights. This thing jumps down, screeches at him. He drives out of there. The guy at the gas station tells him that he thinks he encountered a wendigo. Story number 2, a guy's on a missions trip for his job with his partner. The locals there say that you guys are some of the newest people that we've had come in here in a long time, along with this other beautiful woman. The guy at that house that he's staying in, he hears a weird noise. He goes into one of the children's rooms and he sees this weird thing with a long tongue sticking out. He chops the tongue off. The thing rips his thumb off, flies away with it. The locals then tell Mr. O that he might have encountered an Aswang, which may have been the beautiful woman that entered the town because they disguised themselves. Story number 3, Jace moves to the U.S. He goes to his aunt's house with the family. He stays back in the car to look for something. He sees a man in the window. He goes up to the room and no one's there. When he tells his aunt tells him to never speak of it. Those are your 3 stories. I'm going to give you guys some time to make your final decision. Go.
Story 1 did sound a little odd to me.
Hmm.
Hearing it again. But I'd be remiss if we didn't choose story 2. How do you feel?
Are you dead set on 2?
I'm not dead set, because I thought story 1 did sound a little odd, rehearing it. The whole part about the light thing bothered me.
The light?
It was just like, and then the thing stopped working. And then
Oh,
you turn the light brighter.
the light brighter, yeah.
But no, it was really more so the thing stopped working out of nowhere, just because it saw the white creature. Like, the thing stopped working.
Yeah, that didn't make
Okay.
sense.
And then he's like, oh, and then he kicked it, and he kicked it, and he started it, and he kicked it, and he started, and it started! It's like, it doesn't really add up.
Yeah.
I'm still down for the second one, but how do you feel?
When I heard him saying the stories back, I was like, in my head for some reason, between 2 and 3.
Not one at all.
No, not for some reason.
But then we're both still on 2, we should stick to.
Yeah, right. Might as well.
What's the worst that happens to us?
Nothing.
Lock it in 2, baby!
You locking in 2?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Guys,
It's not.
it's not story 2.
Bad, bro. It feels bad.
Hmm?
It still feels bad.
So you're telling me this dude, belly button of children.
That's what I'm saying.
So story 1 or 3?
It's 1 or 3. Do you want to take a second guess?
No. You just tell us. I'm so sad.
No, I guess we'll just take a guess. Wait, what was 3 again?
Man in the window.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
It's story 1.
You were onto it.
It
Yeah,
doesn't-
Austin
fine.
was onto it. I thought you guys were going to get it this time.
It just felt weird, but it's fine either way. I'm not going to lose street.
Yeah, wait, why didn't you?
Well, I mean, the second one still felt weird, and you were like, nah, the first one's fine. I was like, we don't need to harbor on it.
I think that there definitely were weird details in all 3. I see the argument for picking literally any one of these. But yeah, stories 2 and 3 were sent in by people who they swear that these things
Happened
happen
to them?
either to them or
Or-
someone around them. And to give credit, story number 1 was written by Darwin17. Story number 2 was written by Bradley Olson, and story number 3 was written by Jace Libet. Thank you guys so much for sending in your stories. I really, really appreciate it. We wouldn't have this episode without you guys.
If this is me and Toph's last duo team up on the show, we are the best duo team.
And this video proved it.
Precisely.
Well, thank you guys so much for playing. Thank you to the fans who have been submitting stories for this show. It really means a lot to us. I have loved reading all of your stories. If you're listening to this episode wherever you get your podcasts, then make sure to give us a rate and review. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for free. It really, really helps us out. If you're watching the video version, make sure to give us a like, leave a comment down below letting us know what you thought, and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss when we post new episodes. Follow us on Instagram at Culture35 and on TikTok at RealCulture35 for extra bonus content. And that is about it. We will see you guys again next week with a brand new episode. Bye, guys.